Hey students, welcome to the Engage video that will hopefully clarify everything that you need to know about Thinkering Studio. At this stage, quite a few of you, not all, but quite a few of you have gone ahead and gotten approved for your projects, and I want to go ahead and move you forward with the documentation process. So the big thing to get from this video is that I'm going to show you how you turn in your project to me, and that seems to be the overarching question many of you have given me. Okay, and also I have an FAQ, frequently asked questions, from many of your emails that will hopefully clarify a lot of the components of this project. So with that being said, let me direct you to my screen over here. So in front of you, you should see that in Google Classroom, there's going to be a new assignment that is called the Thinkering Studio Google Sites Portfolio, and that's right here. It's not activated, but it will show up on your screen in a moment after this video is finished. But what you should notice is that we are going to go back to document using our Google Sites. All of you have already done your Google Sites. It's just a matter of going back in and organizing it using the portfolio skills that we learned about at the very beginning of the semester. So basically, I have gone ahead and given you a template that will work very well. Don't forget, this Google site is yours. So the banners, headings, all that stuff, I customize for myself, but for you, customize it in a way that makes sense. So don't forget about all these layouts over here, the different kind of components that you can add over on that right toolbar. But basically, throughout this project, you are going to document at the very beginning, right here, beginning of the project. You're going to give me resources. There's a halfway point reflection. Now, everyone's going to be at different stages when it comes to the project's time frame. So some of you have a 2-week project. Some of you have a 5-week project. So halfway point is determined by you. Then there's documentation with pictures and screenshots. That can prove to be a little difficult for some of you who are maybe, I know there's students that are doing coding, but take screenshots of some of your coding skills, as in what you have progressed through, activities, some lines of code that you have done, and I can teach you screenshotting. We actually did it in class already, but if you forgot, general Google searches or come to me during office hours and I can help you with that. And then at the end, an end of project reflection. So I'm not going to go over every single question on here, but you should see that the questions are guiding questions that talk about what you are doing, how you're progressing, what challenges, things like that, and also the successes that you have found throughout the project that you chose. So the big thing is this portfolio, this master portfolio, is going to be the final documentation of your project, and that's what you're going to turn in to me. So you're going to notify me when you are done, and then I will check it over, read it over, and give you your appropriate score. So I have given you in the Google Classroom assignment a link to my sample website and also a PDF file that will go ahead and give you the exact layout in just kind of a Word form that's easily visible. But if you go to my Google site, you'll see that it is much easier to see how I laid out everything and organized everything. But read the questions, make it a point to go ahead and create this layout in the beginning, and then start filling in things as you see fit throughout your project. Okay, so that is the basics of the Google layout that you're going to do, and the Google Sites will be the culminating project, like end turn-in. So that's what you're going to notify me of. Now, I have been getting quite a few questions as it relates to this project, so I'm going to go back to my screen and kind of give you a quick FAQ where I answer many of these questions for you. Okay, so let's look at that. Okay. So one of the questions I got right from is, when can I start? As soon as you are approved. Right now, I have approved as many as I could as you've been turning it on, and you start the project. There's people that are doing photography, coding. There's people that are actually doing some unique things like creating something, sewing, things like that I've talked about. You start once it's approved. Okay. How do you turn in my work? I just talked about that. You're going to turn in your Google Sites to me. You're going to notify me when you are done with the Google Sites, and I will check it over, complete it, and give you some feedback on it. Okay. What do I do if I finish early? And that is going to be a tricky situation because some of your projects will be shorter than others. So what I'm gonna go ahead and lay out in the next week is based on where everyone is with their projects, and I know how long it should take approximately for many of yours. You are allowed to start a second project, a second Thinkering Studio project. Okay, so we have approximately 4 weeks left in school at the time of this video. So what you should be thinking is that if you have a 2-week project, okay, finish it, complete it, create your Google Sites, and then start thinking about a project that you can do for the last couple weeks, and you will submit another proposal. I'll approve it, and then the same requirements with the Google Sites. So you'll just create a second page for that. What if I can't do everything in my project? And that is actually going to be true. Okay, so some of your projects are big, overarching, and it's not a sense of it's done after 4 weeks. What you got to consider is that the project's focus is to try learning something, progress through something, and look at something new that you've never done before. And Thinkering in itself is just thinking about your learning. Okay, so if you do not finish everything, you're still required to document your process, but some of the reflection questions at the end are going to give me some insights into what you weren't able to accomplish, or you're not quite there at what your success criteria is. So don't forget that these projects could be hobbies or things that you're going to continue on for a long time, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be finished in just a couple weeks. I forgot how to use Google Sites, and that is probably going to be true. Google Sites can be challenging, but we did work on it at the beginning, so everyone has one and should be familiar with the basics of it. But that's where I can come in and help you. Don't forget that I have office hours, and during office hours, I can share my screen. I can go ahead and get input from your Google Sites and go ahead and help with your layout. So utilize me during these office hours, or if you can't make it to the office hours, contact me and we'll set up a separate individual Zoom where I can work one-on-one with you, or with a small subset of students to kind of work through your Google Sites. So hopefully that goes ahead and clarifies a lot of the questions that you may have in. The big thing is I want you to enjoy learning something. I know in these unconventional times, oftentimes the motivation can be a little challenging, and in a class like this, that's one of the key things. Learn something, document it, and motivate yourself to go ahead and progress into something. Okay. So with that being said, thanks for watching this video. Definitely feel free to reach out to me at any point if you have questions, and I look forward to going ahead and reading up and seeing what you guys have been accomplishing. Thanks.